Okay. All right. Well, welcome to the ninth 4-H Club Leader Training. I am Karla Hightower. I'm the Marais District Extension Agent for 4-H Youth Development. And I will kind of go through at the end. I probably will try to go through and share what everyone is saying on the chat in case some of you can't see the chat, because I know sometimes if you're on your phone, it's harder to find and that type of thing. But anyway, so welcome. I'm happy to have you all here. Like I said, if at any time you have questions, please just go ahead and interrupt and we'll go through this. So, or if you have comments and things we need to discuss as well. All right, so my agenda for today is have, first of all, I'm going to talk about a new incident report form that we have. You know, we talk about maybe documenting things, and I'm going to give you a brief idea of when to use that. We're going to talk about the updated Kansas 4-H policies. There's not a lot of changes to those, but there are a few things I just want you to be aware of. We're going to talk about fundraising approvals and kind of some general policies on the fundraising. We're also going to talk about the new apparel approval form that kind of comes out with the policies. We'll talk about enrollment, quick update on the shooting sports, because I know we made some changes this year so that your families are aware. If they want to do county fair shoots, they have to do some, attend some practices. And then I'll have some upcoming events and activities. And I want to give you a brief club paperwork guidelines so you know what to keep and how long you need to keep things. And then I'll give you the dates for the 2024 club leader training. So thank you all for being with us. And if you have any questions at any time, please feel free. Okay, so the first thing we have is the incident report form. And this is just for anyone. And I have had some clubs actually use it already. But if you have a medical incident, an accident, if you're having problems with, somebody's not doing the code of conduct, whether it's a kid or an adult, it probably would be good to fill this out. Now, you don't have to fill out the whole form because I know some of it might not actually apply depending on what you're doing, if you've had to discipline anybody either. But it's always good. This is basically a way of documenting the incident. And then if you will turn it into me or Abby or both of us, then we can kind of get it on file. And if it becomes a recurring incident, we will step in and say, hey, we need to do something and kind of take action. So that's kind of where we're at on that. We want it to be all of our 4-H clubs to have safe environments for all participants. So if you feel someone's not providing that in your club, please let us know or let me know, and I'll help you through that. But I did send this out through email for everyone. So if you have something that happens at an event you're hosting or a club meeting, just document it. It's a quick way of documenting. So like I said, you might not have to use all of it, but if you can give the event name, the date, the location, and kind of a little bit about that event, that would be good. So I know that's kind of a new thing. So does anybody have any questions about that or any things they would like to share? Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and move on, but if you have any questions or need to talk more about this, please let me know. All right, kind of moving into Kansas 4-H policies. So the first of all, we've kind of been talking about this for several years now, but the first thing is the community club. So like normal, and basically these are community club structure or project clubs, because I know I have some project club leaders on here as well. So you have to be lettered by, all clubs have to have 2 or more screened and board approved adult volunteers. If they don't meet this, they are no longer a club. They have to have enrolled at least 5 youth members from at least 3 different families. Community clubs emphasize project exploration, leadership, and civic engagement, whereas project clubs emphasize more of the project learning. It's still the project exploration, but it's just one project. Community clubs can be any project you want to, any of the 45 different projects we have. You must conduct a minimum of 6 regular educational experiences per year. And, we really want you to do 9 to 12. And these don't necessarily have to be meetings. They can be meetings, but you could have it as a project meeting. You could have it as service learning opportunities. You could have field trips. Any of those activities there count. You don't actually have to sit down and have a business meeting every single month. I'm sure there's going to be times when you're going to need to have a business meeting because you have a business you'll have to take care of, but you don't have to do that all the time. Maybe every other month or every couple months would be good. All clubs have to select or elect youth leaders to provide direction to the club and be shared with shared youth leadership opportunities and shared decision making. You want to keep meeting project and financial records and submit required reports. And so that includes the club leadership report. That is just basically tells us your officers, who your 4-H council reps are, your club leaders, and if you have project leaders that you know of. You also have to do the annual financial review, which was due November 1st. Hopefully you've all completed that. But with the first email I sent out about this, it actually had who I still needed those from. And then you must follow state and local 4-H policy, which this is the state policy, and the local 4-H policy can be found on our website as well. And I've shared that with you before. And you must have a 4-H charter. So that's just a little bit about minimum requirements for community clubs or project clubs. So talking about enrollment, we cannot limit youth to enrolling in 4-H. So we have to enroll 4-H. Youth may enroll at any time. However, we can have a exception with the fact that, like, for certain events, you have to be enrolled before that event. So, like, that's where our fair deadlines come in with January 15th and May 1st to enroll for fair. And part of that is so that that's when we start getting deadlines are coming for fair. We're getting out new requirements, all of those things, so that and are ready and prepared to actually exhibit at the Miami-Orland County Fair. Clubs are not permitted to include or exclude particular individuals or families from participating in 4-H programs. However, you can limit your participation based on, like, project clubs, the projects that are offered. You can do child protection ratios for safety, which I meant to put in here and I forgot. But there are certain ratios that you want to have depending on the kids, the ages of youth. So certain programs like shooting sports, when we're talking about shooting sports here in a few minutes, they have limits. Nobody under 8. 7-year-olds can't actually participate in shooting sports. That's due to national or project enrollment deadline. And that's kind of what we use for fair project enrollment deadline. The one thing is if you are one of the clubs that kind of has a max number of kids that you can have any time, if you reach that max, you must let us know. So let me know, or let the offices know, so that we know that you're at the max and we can put it out for people and try to get them in other clubs. So that's kind of where we're at on enrollment. But I just want to make sure you realize that, you can't make them wait 3 meetings to enroll. You can't, we can't even make them attend meetings really to enroll. They can enroll at any time. The only solid deadline we have is that January 15th and May 1st deadlines to show at the Miami County and Lynn County fairs in the 4-H event divisions. They can still join 4-H in June if they want to. They just can't show, and they could show in open class, but they can't show in 4-H at that time. So that's where we're at for that. Hopefully your clubs are all in compliance with this, I guess. That's how I'm trying to say it, but yeah. If not, and you'd like to visit with me, please feel free to give me a call or an email, and we can talk a little bit more about this policy and how to make sure we are complying with it. And then the other thing is just, I'm a big proponent of there being a club for every family, and you have to find the right fit. But we also want to make sure we are welcoming new families in, that we're not being kind of closed circle. And, it's been several years, but well, probably about 10 years ago, I did have a report that one club was telling them, well, you don't go to school with my kids, so therefore you should find another club. We can't not do that. You need to be open and include anyone who wants to come into your club. So just to kind of let you know that too. Oops, I went too far. Sorry. Okay, so another thing is this is something they kind of put in. So online posting, social media. The one thing is we do need to talk a little bit also about when you enroll in 4-H, you click a yes or no tab, I think, that says we can use your child's or as adult volunteers, you enroll as well, but likeness to advertise K-State Research and Extension. And that basically means that if you don't check that, like at State Fair this year, if you didn't check that box, say yes, that's okay, that we can use your likeness and name and that type of thing. Like at State Fair, they weren't allowed to exhibit your exhibits at State Fair. They weren't allowed to publish any results at State Fair. And I'm not sure that's not going to come down to the county level here. We don't have a lot of people who check no, but I want you guys to be aware of that if you have somebody in your club, and you should be able to see that on 4-H Online with your club access. And I'm probably at January's, we'll kind of go over how to do club access. We'll send those out as well. But, we are doing that. The other thing is just, when you're posting, I know a lot of you have closed groups, which is great. It's easier to post things on that. But if you're ever sharing them to your regular pages or anything like that, sometimes they can still get out there. So just make sure that you're not posting identifiable information of a 4-H youth on a website or Facebook, social media, anything like that. I'm very careful about, especially anyone under 13. If I post their picture, there probably is not going to be a name with it. And that's just because I don't want people to associate that name and that kid together. So you can always tag people in it, but I never tag people in it just for that reason. If you want to know more about that, there is the Child's Online Privacy Protection Act that we follow, and you can kind of visit those. But that's a little bit about social media and online postings, websites. The other thing is, if you have any of those as a club, I'm really supposed to be an administrator, or at least definitely be on your page. So let me know, and I will try to, you can add me yourself, or if I need to add myself, let me know, and I will try to do that, so that I'm not going to, it's not anything major. It's just so I kind of know what's out there, and if there's any problems, I can look at things. I'm not going to be, I don't micromanage those by any means. Occasionally I will post on some of our project club pages, but yeah, other than that, it's just basically for me. And then the other thing is, if you stop being a leader and somebody needs access to it, it gives me a way of switching leadership in those clubs as well. So, okay. Confidentiality, just a reminder, as club leaders, you will see some confidential information, whether it's enrollment, addresses, phone numbers, different things like that, health information from 4-Hers. Those are all confidential. We cannot, we don't let unauthorized users use them. Really, Kansas State University system, so 4-H system and Kansas 4-H Foundation, Miami County 4-H Foundation. Those are the only ones that have access to that. And even Miami County 4-H Foundation can't like just send a mass mailing to all our 4-H families. But yeah, those type of things, we are confidential, and so you can't give those out. Definitely can't sell them. I have been offered by businesses, ask if I could sell my list, and I have never, and we cannot do that. So just kind of wanted you to be aware of that. Another thing on the new policy is club constitution and bylaws, and all clubs are to function formally through a constitution and bylaws. If you do not have these or you do not know where yours are, it might be a good idea to look for them or to try to get new ones. We do have a template for clubs to use, and I can help you get that. It's on the kansas4h.org website under club information. All clubs have to have a dissolution clause, and this was not this update of the policy, but it was a few years ago. And then basically upon dissolution of your club, the members agree that all tangible real property, including money and equipment, shall become the property of any recognized 4-H or extension organization or percentage to all. And so what that means is basically like you cannot give, if your club dissolves, you can't give money back to all the club members or anything like that. It has to go to like 4-H Council, Extension Board, Miami County 4-H Foundation, Kansas 4-H Foundation. Because all that money was raised in the name of 4-H, and so it cannot go to an individual. So that is kind of where we're at. So if you do not have that dissolution clause in your bylaws, please get that in there. It's very simple to do. All you would have to do is most clubs only require a majority or 2/3 vote of the members at any one meeting, present at any one meeting. So hopefully that's in your bylaws as well. If you update your bylaws, please get a copy to my office, or to the Lynn County office, Mountain City office as well. We try to keep those, we're supposed to keep those on file and up to date. So if you don't know where your bylaws are and you're making new ones, please give us a copy. If you've updated your bylaws, please make sure we have a copy as well. Moving on to club finances. So the annual financial review of 4-H clubs, like I said, it was due November 1st. And it is a Kansas extension law, which is a state law, as well as federal and state expectations for use of all funds. It basically says the director of extension or Marais Extension Board are accountable for any funds that we collect in the name of 4-H. So 4-H clubs, 4-H groups, 4-H councils, even any extension, master gardeners, master food volunteers, all of those. And so to ensure that this is happening and everything's going correctly, we have that financial review document that you must have. And I'm getting ready to present those to the board next Monday at our board meeting. So they will go through it and kind of any recommendations, and then we'll send those back to you in your club boxes or get those back to you so that you can see if there's anything we've seen that needs to be changed in how you're doing your accounting. So if we can, if you haven't turned yours in, please get it to me as quick as possible, preferably before next Monday, so I can get it to the board, because otherwise we have to wait till the January board meeting or February board meeting to present those. And if you do not turn one in, eventually you can we can revoke your charter for not complying with this. So, and if you don't have a charter, you can't raise money in the name of 4-H, you can't have club meetings, you can't really be a member of 4-H. So, so anyway, that's kind of the repercussions if you do not turn in a financial review. Okay, a couple more things. So we have to have at least 2 screened board-approved adult volunteers, cannot be immediate family, as signatures on all 4-H club accounts. I still encourage you to have 4-H members as signatures too, but they can't be immediate family to your adult volunteers either. So And you really are supposed to have 2 signatures on any checks that you write. So if you write a check, please have signatures. Volunteers who serve as signatures have to go through our screen to volunteer process. So that means you enroll in 4-H online as an adult volunteer, you do a background check, you're doing our orientation process, and you've been approved by our board, by the extension board. So if you have people who are on your accounts who have not been through that process, please, or you don't know if they've been through that process, please let us know. And we'll try to get through that. But that is kind of a little bit different than what we've seen in the past. So, because they have to be board approved now. Oh, and that's where I talked about the non-compliance. So if you don't do the financial review, eventually we can basically revoke your charter and you will not be considered a formally authorized group. You will not be a charitable organization according to IRS. You will not be able to accept donations. You'll not be able to use the 4-H name and emblem, and you'll be responsible for registering and reporting as a specific IRS for-profit business. So, yeah, we really don't want that to happen. So please try to make sure you get those in. And if you need help with them, please let me know. Okay, so club fundraising, just a little bit about this is fundraising is supposed to be done for a specific educational purpose. So if you're using 4-H name, if you're fundraising in the name of your 4-H club, you need to have a specific purpose. All monies received from 4-H fundraising programs, except those necessary to pay reasonable expenses, must be expended to further 4-H educational programs. And 4-H is considered a nonprofit entity. Funds may not be accumulated or held over in an account without a proper spending plan. So you need to make sure that, we want to have a little bit of a cushion. I'm not saying that, but you don't want to have a huge cushion either. I kind of say about 2 to 3 years of, I would say probably 2 to 3 years of your expenses is plenty of cushion to have. Also, if you are fundraising, if you're fundraising, you need to let me know, and part of that is just because occasionally I get somebody who comes in and says they're doing something in the name of 4-H and they're really not, that I know of. And so if you can, it's just a quick email to me, to let me know that, hey, you're doing a food stand or you're going to sell this item or whatever. And then I know if somebody comes in and goes, hey, somebody was selling something and I don't know if they were really 4-H or a 4-H group or not. I can say, yeah, I knew about that. They're a 4-H group. We're good to go. But we have had problems specifically in Pale in the past, with some, like the circus came to town and said they were selling in the name of 4-H, and they were not. So it was not, none of that money was going back to local 4-H anyway. So we need to make sure that we're doing that. So please just email me, as club leaders, email me if you're doing any kind of 4-H fundraising. And then just make sure also that you have a disclaimer that a portion of the sales price of this product or service will be used to promote 4-H educational programs. No endorsement of the product or service by 4-H is implied or intended. So you do need to do that with any of your fundraising, just because we don't have permission to let businesses use the 4-H emblem. And so we need to make sure that they aren't being endorsed or feeling like they're endorsed by the 4-H. All right, kind of going back to club fundraising. We've had several raffles, and I'll be honest, I did not even know that this until last year when I was looking up some things, but you can do a raffle. You must be an extension affiliated group. You must submit an application, and I have to have the board actually approve it. So you need to have it probably about a month out from your raffle. The application's not real hard. You can kind of see that's part of it. It's a little bit more than that, but it's just basically what the cost of the ticket is, what you're doing, all of those things. We do have to conduct, like I said, we have to approve it through the extension board. So the Marais Extension Board has to do it. And sales of tickets may require payment as Kansas sales tax unless you meet the fundraising events, which I think most of our 4-H clubs will actually meet the requirements for de minimis fundraising events. But I have some more information about that. So if you're interested in doing raffles, please contact me, but make sure we have probably a month and a half notice so that we can get everything through ahead of time for those raffles. Okay. Before I go on to co-branding, because I think there will be questions on this, are there any questions on or comments on what I've covered so far about the Kansas 4-H policy? Okay. Well, if you have any or come up with any other times, please let me know. So use of the co-branding, or basically extension and 4-H co-branding policy, and use of the 4-H Clover. So co-branding is basically what I put on the first page of all my slides, which is the Kansas State University or K-State Research and Extension /4-H. And then also sometimes I usually have Marais Extension District on there, or Marais District on there as well. So we are required to put on all 4-H print, digital, apparel, and merchandise the co-brand. That does require us to use certain vendors. We do have a couple, I think, in the county now who are licensed vendors with us, which is good, in each county. And that basically means that anything created at the local, county, district, region, or state levels have to have that co-branding. There's a full policy of that. You can find more information, and they basically want us. The one thing that's kind of changed now is that we have to, there is a form to actually get approval of what you're going to do. So basically there's this new form that's the Kansas 4-H Apparel /swag approval form. And you're, as a club or group, you have to have your creative design approved before printing to ensure the proper use of the 4-H Clover and Co. word mark on any apparel or swag items. So it basically comes to me. It doesn't mean a lot, but yeah, it'll have to come. It basically comes to me, and I will approve them. It also shows the digital files of the co-word marks, so those are the ones you can use. And you can feature those as part of the central creative design. That's fine, but you must include the KSRE /4-H co-word mark somewhere on the item as well. So it doesn't have to be front and center. It can be on a sleeve. It can be on the back. It can be, towards the bottom, however it is, but we do have to have those on there. So there are many incorrect clovers floating around the internet. So, make sure that we're doing the right ones. And part of that is just to make sure we have the right clovers, the ones that have the little thing on it and the K-State, and it's in the right colors, and everything is correct. So I don't think, hopefully it won't be too hard, but yeah, I'll at least allow 10 business days and get those to me ahead of time, and I will get those approved. So any questions about that? It does not. It does not have to be in color. So Rebecca asked if it had to be in color. They can be black and white. Yeah, there are certain colors you can only do the, if you do color, you can only do the 4-H clover in certain, it can only be like green, gold, white, or black. So there's only certain things you can do the 4-H clover in, and same thing with K-State Research and Extension, but you can always do them in black and white. So, any other questions? I'm sure we'll be talking about this more as we get closer to spring, when all of you do t-shirt orders and different swag for fair. So we'll talk more about proper use and all of that. Okay, that is all I had for Kansas 4-H policy. You can actually see the whole policy guide if you want to. It's like a 50-page document at on kansas4h.org, and it's under resources. So, or if you need me to send it to you, I can. But I kind of wanted to hit the highlights and what I thought was most important about the policies. The one thing I didn't do, and I probably should share with you, is supervision ratios. I have to find those again, but I might send those out as an email when I send out the recording of this as well. So, enrollment. Enrollment seems to be going pretty well so far, but our first deadline is fast approaching. So just kind of make sure that any returning members are done by January 15th. They have to be enrolled in January 15th and have at least one project. I would encourage you to go ahead. I would encourage all families to go ahead and put down their projects, because I don't know how many people I have who are in a hurry and they put down maybe one project to get them enrolled by January 15th, and then they forget on May 1st to go, or before May 1st, to go back in and add other projects. And then their kid can only show that one project. So just, try to get those projects in, even if you don't think, it's okay to not show a project. You can always drop it if you want to, or you can just leave it there and just not complete it. But they do have to be enrolled in those projects to show at fair, and actually enrolled in 4-H by January 15th. And then May 1st is our new member enrollment to show at fair, and then also project drop or delete and add deadlines. So just some things to think about as you're telling your 4-H families, make sure they get enrolled. We have quite a few that have enrolled, but there's several who have not yet. All right, shooting sports requirements. So new this year, you've always had to have safety trainings to participate, but new this year, air rifle and BB projects are going to require that you attend 8 of the 18 practices. And archery is going to require that you attend the safety training to compete in fair competitions. And part of this is because we've had some questionable actions happen in that fair that maybe were not as safe as they could be. So it's a safety issue. It's also so that our leaders know who else is coming to fair, and so they can have the right number of the equipment there that they need and all of that. The other thing is age requirements. So for BB, like I said, no 7-year-olds can do shooting sports. They have to be 8 by January 1st to actually participate. BB is 8 to 15, archery is 8 to 18, air rifle is 12 to 18, and shotgun is 12 to 18, and small bore is 12 to 18, and it depends on if we have instructor availability. Although all of this, it depends on if we have instructor availability, but I know we have instructors currently in the BB, archery, air rifle, and shotgun projects. There's also a couple other projects, but we currently do not, like I think hunting skills is a project, and maybe a heritage rifle, but we do not have instructors right now in those projects. So the other thing is the shooting sports club. We do have a project club for shooting sports. I think they're meeting quarterly. So you can join the shooting sports project club when enrolling in 4-H online. can be an additional to your community club or as a main club. So if you have some kids who are just really interested in shooting sports and want to do that as just their main club, that's fine. I know several of you are in shooting sports, but are also in a community club, and that's okay too. And practices will be scheduled throughout the year. I know we've had a big group of shooting sports participants so far, and I know they've had to increase the number of practices and trainings they have and the days they have it. So be sure to check our website because we do try to get that information up as soon as possible. And it's under the project tab at the marizine.ksu.edu under 4-H and then project information. And if you look under shooting sports, the training schedule's out there. And so anytime we have updates, we get those out on the website as soon as possible as well. Some upcoming events that are happening is we have officer training. It is due December 15th. We've only had about 23 kids go through that, and I will try to send out a list of officer training. So I know some of you will probably be doing it at your club meetings here, hopefully in December. Just a reminder, it is online and clubs need to have 50% for the seal requirement of their officers to go through it. It shouldn't take very long. You're just answering a few questions, watch a video or some other things and answer a few questions and go from there. So needle felting class, we're having December 21st. Kara Uphoff is going to be teaching those classes. And this year we're going to have a beginner and intermediate class from 1 to 3. And then we're having an advanced class, which actually is opened up to adults as well. So youth or adults, if you've taken one of Kira's needle felting classes in the past, or have done it in the past, or are just an adult, you can come to the advanced class from 3:30 to 6:30 as well. So there is a price in there. And we do ask that you pay at the extension offices. We're not doing it online because we couldn't get the discount if you have your block and felting needles. And if you bring those, you can get a little bit of a discount, but we couldn't make that work with our software. So our online payment software. So that's kind of where we're at on that. So you will need to pay at the office that can be sending it in or stopping by, either way. So I guess adults are welcome in all classes, but I kind of figured most adults would want the advanced class. 4-H presentation day, or 4-H day as it was formerly called, is going to be February 17th at Prairie View Middle School. We're probably going to start about 9 a.m. because we're going to actually have set up that day too. So it'll be an 8:30, 9 a.m. start with setup happening from 7:30 to 8:30 or 8 to 7. So, okay. And pre-registration will probably open January 2nd. And Carissa just said that the advanced class on the felting is also for those that have a solid art background, composition and color theory understanding, and a longer attention span. So yeah, we don't really want 7 and 8-year-olds probably in that, but if you've been doing it for a while and are a teen or something, that class would be great. Tagging deadlines, just to kind of let you know, I know at least some of them went out on Facebook for Miami County, but Lynn County's will be for Sunday, March 17th from 5:30 to 7 p.m. And that's actually for Miami or Lynn County, depending on where you want to go, or not where you want to go if you're a Lynn County 4-H'er or a Miami County 4-H'er. Sheep, goats, and swine for Lynn County is Friday, May 3rd from 4 to 8. And sheep, goats, and swine in Miami County is going to be Sunday, May 5th from 4 to 8 p.m. So those are the tagging deadlines. We do have YQCA classes that'll start, but they won't start till March. But you do have to attend a YQCA class to show at Miami or Lynn County fairs in breeding or market beef, sheep, swine, or goats. A couple of things on the state events that are coming up. We have Kansas 4-H Dog Judges Training, which is January 26th to 28th. It's in Leavenworth, Kansas, so that's not too far away this year. And registration is due by January 12th. This is, even though it says judges training, it's a good opportunity to train volunteers who want to help with our dog project training classes. So if you're interested in that, you can contact me or see, because sometimes we do have some funds that Miami County 4-H Foundation kicks in to help offset those costs, since you will be coming back and training our 4-H members. If you also want to just be a judge, that's great too. So Citizenship in Action Conference is February 18th through the 19th, and it's in Topeka. And this is kind of where teens basically, I think it's 13 and up or 14 and up. I'm not sure on that. I'd have to check. But they go to Topeka and they get to do mock legislative things. So they get to kind of talk about our Kansas legislature. So registration is usually due about February 1st on that. They don't have information out, but that usually comes out in January. So if you have kids that are maybe interested in that, let me know. And if I have any adults who are interested in going, we'll pay your way to be a chaperone for that as well, because that weekend is usually pretty busy for me. So, okay. We're doing good. All right. A couple others, just a few more items. Just kind of paperwork retention guidelines. I think I sent this out in an email to you as well. But just so you know, 3 years, you have to keep your secretary's books, your minutes, all for at least 3 years. They want you to archive with the library or local historical society. Most of the time, I've not really had good luck with having them want those, but you definitely need to keep at least 3 years. You can keep more than that if you have room, but definitely have 3 years. Financial items like your treasurer's books, your bank statements, your financial reviews that we'll give back. You need to make sure any tax exempt certificates, you maintain those for 5 years and you can shred those after you're done. That's tax exemption certificates. You'll need to make sure until you have a new certificate from Kansas Department of Revenue. I don't really encourage 4-H clubs to have those just because it's kind of you don't use them that often, and there's a lot of regulations to go into those. We do have them for 4-H councils, Marais District. So if you need to use, if you need something through that, we can try to work that out. But yeah, because you basically have to, if you use that, you have to have a check that says the person's name on it. So if you're using that for the People's 4-H Club, you have to pay with a check from People's 4-H Club. So you can't pay for it personally. Like I can't put it on my credit card and that type of thing. And so most of the time we just pay people back for expenses in 4-H clubs anyway. But anyway, so those are the paperwork guidelines that you really need to know about. The document had a lot of things for me as an extension office, but I did want to share it because it did have those few things. And our next, so, the new year has started. So our next 4-H club leader training Zoom date is going to be January 30th at 7 p.m. We also have April 30th at 7, August 29th at 7, and November 19th at 7. So those are our dates. And I will, I always send out reminders for these as well. So you have an idea. Okay. While I'm waiting there, I'm going back to our question about kind of our intro, which was some community service ideas. We have serving refreshments after hanging of the Greens church service. So that is a great idea. We have the club that adopted a local family from concern that had asked for Christmas help. And they're doing shopping as a club and then purchasing some items they asked for. They set a budget, and the remaining balance will be paid towards the family's utilities. And they filled shoeboxes for children abroad. We have clubs that go to assisted living and entertain them a couple times a year. We have a club that's adopting 2 kids for Pops for Tots for Christmas. The horse club does a benefit horse show a week before fair, and the proceeds go to a charity, which is good. Yeah, several of you are adopting families from Pops for Tots or the Angel Tree. So those are all great community service ideas, and I'm glad to see you guys doing that. I know our leadership team in Miami County is here in a week from Monday is going to do cookies for first responders. So they're baking cookies for first responders, and then I think they're also doing some maybe Christmas cards for nursing homes or something, or assisted living. So those are great ideas. Keep up all the good work there. Okay, so do you guys have any questions, comments, anything we need to talk about? Anything that's came up in your clubs lately? Okay, well, it doesn't seem like there are any. As always, I want to thank you for being our club leaders, because I know this takes a lot of your time and dedication, and I really do appreciate it. You're the ones that reach our youth and really make our clubs a success. So thank you for all your hard work, and keep up the good work. And if you need anything at any time, please let me know, because I'm always happy to help, and I'm here to help. So with that, we're done a couple minutes early, about 10 minutes early, which is awesome. So have a good night, and thank you so much for all your help.